Good afternoon, Srinjoy. Thank you for joining in today's interview. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm doing well, sir.
Great. So, Srinjoy, since you have come up for the interview, before we proceed with anything, can you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yes, sir. I'm Srinjay Sneh. I am from my hometown is in Jamshedpur, and I have completed my BTech from OP Jindal University, Raigad. I have specialized in electrical and electronics engineering in the major degree, and I have a minor degree in computer science engineering. Before that, I completed my schooling from Little Flower School, Jamshedpur, and after this I've secured around 89.4% in class 10th and 82.5% in class 12. So coming to my family, I have a nuclear family comprising of my parents and my elder sister. So during my college tenure, I was provided the opportunity to work in the uh, to get an internship in Metalman Auto Private Limited, which was actually based on Industry 4.0. And after that, I was even given an opportunity to have an internship at Jindal Steel and Private Limited. So during this tenure, I have actually developed many skills. And coming to my extracurricular activities, I have been active in all my college events. I have even headed many events. And throughout my school tenure, I have been participating in various elocutions and debates, and I have won many prizes in these. And coming to my hobbies now, I actually enjoy reading books of different kinds of genres, and I like sports, especially cricket and volleyball.
That's great. Since you mentioned that you have done your major in electronics and communication, right? So,
Yes, sir.
why you are right now shifting your entire career from electronics since you have got your major over there, you have done your degree over there, and you are now right now switching into software industry. Why? What is the reason behind it?
So during my college tenure, I wasn't so sure about my branch, but actually, uh, in the first or second year, I actually got an idea that to be good in coding, I developed an interest in coding, and I also found that we need to study electronics also, because coding and electronic, these things go hand in hand, like in IoT projects and all. So I kind of developed myself there, but my interest was always towards coding. So I decided to pursue my career in coding. So that's why I've shifted from electrical electronics to computer science.
That's great. Since you mentioned that you have your interest towards coding, so what kind of languages you are comfortable with at the moment?
So I'm comfortable with Java, and the database language I'm comfortable with Oracle SQL.
Okay, great. So what do you think are the three best qualities that should be present in every software coders?
So the so the best skill is problem solving. That there is a like if there's any situation, we need to actually assess the situation and think calmly. So like there's a skill of puzzle solving. So which actually tests us in all situations if we can solve a particular problem or not. It develops a thinking nature that we have to develop it. So what I think the most important thing in the coder is how to build up your thought process. And the other thing is that to minimize the solution, like to minimize a bigger thing to a smaller one. So that is the second point I think which is important. Coming to the third point is to remain calm, because these situations can actually come up to your brain and you may not be able to think clearly. So that is what I think, to be calm and just think towards a solution.
Right. So as you mentioned, uh, do you possess all these three qualities in you?
Yes, sir. Yes, I possess these qualities and I'm also working to enhance it more.
Great. So how do you normally maintain your stress level as you mentioned?
Sir, I actually try to keep calm, because I don't react in situations. I don't react immediately. So that actually gives me a time to think and actually assess the situation, what's actually going on, so that I can take the right decision rather than just jumping into my conclusions and just reacting it out of it and getting panicked.
That's well said. So as you also mentioned that since you are shifting your career right now from electronics to IT, So I think you have come across a lot of hurdles already, right? You might have
Yes,
faced
sir.
a lot of challenges. So can you give a brief a challenge that you might have faced and which you might have overcome as well till now?
So the challenges I faced were like because of my branch, I was being not shortlisted in various companies. So what I did was I actually had to work a lot more hard in my skills because I did not have the background. So that was the biggest challenge for me. So and also I had to develop my aptitude skills because that is actually required. So I have spent a lot of time to overcome these hurdles because aptitude, puzzle solving, and practice this coding. These things are actually I have to develop a lot in order to succeed in this field because I'm not having this background. So people don't usually prefer people who are not having the background. They actually expect more from us to do in this field.
That's right. So what are the things that you can present to my company if I hire you?
So the best thing I can present to your company is that I am actually I never give up, and the best thing is that I can solve problems. I can get the work done. So whatever the company needs from an employee, I can give exactly that and even more than that. I can also adjust in. I'm kind of versatile person. I can adjust in environments. I can work extra shifts also. So I can actually give that the company with what the company actually requires.
Right. And in case if you are not selected today, so what will be your approach towards your next interviews?
So if I'm not selected today, the first thing is that I'll ask my feedback from you. What happened? What went wrong? So I'll definitely work on that. So the next time this thing doesn't get repeated.
Right. In most of the cases, you do not receive feedbacks from the companies. So in those scenarios, how you are going to judge yourself?
So I'll analyze myself. I'll just think where I've gone wrong. I'll try to improve. I'll just keep improving, sir. I'll just keep enhancing my skills. I'll keep enhancing my communication skills. I'll keep enhancing my all the skills required, sir. What the company wants.
That's great. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years of time?
So in the next 5 years of time, I see myself as an established developer, sir. Like I am in a top position of a firm. I'm leading the development department, sir. That's where I see myself.
So do you consider yourself to be a team player or an individual player?
Sir, I've always been a team player. As I said earlier, that in colleges I have led many events and also national level fests. So and talking to my sports also, I've been the captain of my volleyball team in my college. So I've always been a team player. I actually love to work in a team.
That's great. So do you consider yourself to be a hard worker or a smart worker?
Sir, I consider the philosophy of smart work as hard work is a part of smart work. So I consider myself as a smart worker because I also it's not that I'm not a hard worker because I think we need to know where we have to apply a hard work. So that's the philosophy I believe.
That's great. So do you want to change anything about yourself? Might be you might receive some feedbacks, some critical feedbacks, I guess. So do you want to change any of your habits or any of the weakness that you might have?
No, sir, I would not like to change because if I would have changed, then I would not be sitting here. So I think that whatever life has given me, it's a part of my learning process. So I'm just totally cool with whatever I've gone through till now. I don't want to change anything.
That's great. So I'm done with the HR round, Srinjay. So we'll start with the technical round. If you want to have a glass of water in between, you can have.
It's fine, sir.
Right. The first question that I would like to ask you here is, since you mentioned that you have learned Java and SQL, so I'll start with Java at first. So in Java, the first statement that we write is the class name, and then we write public static void main, right? So what do you mean by public static void?
So public is actually access modifier, and static is that the contents of this main cannot be changed. And main is actually the void is actually the return type. So the main function is not returning any type. And coming to the main function, main is actually a function. So whenever our program runs, it actually runs the main function. The other functions are actually linked and called from the main function. So that is what public static void mean actually means.
And if we do not write static, what is going to happen? If we write public void
So
main?
it will show an error because the contents of main may change. I think it is a necessary condition for the main function to be static.
Okay. So as you mentioned that public is an access specifier, what are the different access specifiers we have in Java for Java classes?
So it's public, private, protected, and there is a default access specifier which is friendly.
Right. So what do you mean by private access specifier?
So in private access, private specifier, we can access the class within the same package only.
Okay. So what is the difference between an inner class and a subclass?
So subclass is actually the class which inherits the properties from the parent class. And I don't know about the inner class, sir. Maybe I don't get the term, sir.
Not a problem. I guess when you have been coding a lot, you have used a lot of loops, right? What are the different types of loops
Yes.
you have used so far in Java?
So for while and do while, sir.
Okay. So what is the difference between while and do while?
So in while loop, we have the condition in the beginning. So the condition is checked first, and then the loop is executed. In do while loop, we have the condition at the end. So actually, the loop runs for one iteration, and then at the end it checks the condition. And so if it doesn't satisfy, then it gets removed, and else it continues. So in any way, we are actually executing one time the do while loop. But in while loop, we cannot execute the loop without the condition being satisfied.
Right. So I guess you have used the plus plus operator as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is the difference between I plus plus and plus plus I?
Sir, I plus plus is a postfix operator. It means that to increment first to use the value and then increment the value. And plus plus I is the prefix operator. In that we actually change the value and then use it.
That's right. So what is singleton class?
So could you please pardon?
What is singleton class?
Sorry, sir, I don't have any idea about this.
Okay, Srinjay. Yes. So I will ask few technical questions. So tell me how to declare array in Java.
So to declare array, we use this statement like int, which is the data type, and we use the give the array name or whatever we want, and then we use the close braces, square brackets actually. If it is a single dimensional, we use only one square brackets, and then it equal to operator, and then new the data type int, and we put the same square brackets.
And what are different ways to declare that array?
So we can declare the array like we can assign the values beforehand. So we can declare the array by like int of a with the square braces which is equals to curly braces, and we can enter the values. So that is another way of declaring the array.
Okay. And suppose I have an array of size 10. Okay, in Java. And if I am inserting 11th element into that, then in that case, what will happen?
Sir, it will throw an error, sir, which will be out of bounds, index out of bounds error.
And why it will throw an error?
So because the array has been initialized already with the cell of 10, and if we exceed that, it will actually throw the errors.
And if I want to implement this, then how we can implement in Java? Means you can use another
So we,
data types also without
yes,
array.
sir, we can use array list, sir, because array list is dynamic. We can keep adding the values until we are ready.
What do you mean by dynamic?
So in dynamic, it means that we don't have to initialize the array with a specified number of cells. We can, in runtime only, it gets initialized. Like the number of cells can be added again and again. We don't have to initialize it before.
Okay, and which data type we use there to implement this?
So array list, we can use it of any string, integer, and any kind of data types.
Do you mean array list is a data type?
Sir, array list is actually a class, sir. So, sir, it's actually a collection, sir. So, it is not, sir, it can be a data type. It is a non-primitive data type.
Okay, and what are different data types are in Java?
So, data types are primitive and non-primitive, sir. So, primitive are independent data types and non-primitive are dependent data types. So, in primitive, we have in short, long, char, and string double. And in primitive, we have object and classes, which are actually dependent on these.
Okay. So tell me, can we write Java program without main function?
Yes, so we can write a Java program without a main function.
What will be how to write that?
So we'll just open the class and then we'll just put an void function, void function, void add some anything function, and then we can implement that.
Okay. And tell me, what are different advantages of Java?
So Java is basically the most useful because of its four pillars. What we have: inheritance, encapsulation, data abstraction, and polymorphism. So that is the main advantage of Java. In inheritance, we can inherit the properties from another class. So that is that you gives us the reusability feature. In data abstraction, we don't need to give all the essential details. The non-essential details are actually hidden, and only the essential details are displayed. And in polymorphism, we have this feature that one thing can be used for many purposes, like method overloading and method overriding. And encapsulation is, sir, like we have these concepts of giving restrictions, like it provides data hiding. We give specified access to other users through getters and setters.
Okay, so these are the advantages which are related to object oriented, right? Apart from object oriented, what are different advantages?
So the best thing is Java is platform independent. So we don't need to pre-install other packages there to run Java. That is the biggest advantage of Java.
What is platform independent?
So platform independent is that Java can run in any platform without a pre-installed hardware in there. So we don't need to install other features. It can run in other operating systems. Like what happens in Java is that when we compile a code, it actually gets converted to a bytecode, which is an intermediate code from a high level language to a low level language, which is an intermediate code. So a JVM which is already installed in the other operating system. So that is like platform independent. It acts as platform independent because that JVM converts the JVC into low level language.
Okay. Uh, are you aware about JIT compiler?
No, sir.
No. JIT means just in time compiler.
No, sir. I've not heard about it.
Okay. Do you know what is garbage collector in Java?
Sir, I'm not so sure, but what I know is that when the garbage values which get accumulated during the program, so during the exception handling part, these values are actually removed from the compiler. What I understand is that the garbage collectors.
Okay, great. So you are aware about inheritance, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me, what is multiple inheritance?
So multiple inheritance is where two or more classes can two classes are inherited by a single class. So that is actually not possible in Java. Multiple inheritance. We actually use multi-level inheritance and single inheritance in Java.
Okay. So, and what is reason behind that? It is not possible in Java.
Sir, because one class cannot inherit two classes, means two different classes. It has to be linked in some way. Not so sure about it.
Okay. 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 And what is alternative to implement that multiple inheritance?
So please pardon, sir.
What is alternative to implement multiple inheritance in Java?
Alternative. Sir, we can use this hierarchical inheritance and multi-level inheritance, where we can use this multi-level inheritance, because if we inherit one class to another class and then we can inherit that class in the subclass, so we are actually inheriting both the classes in one way in this class.
Okay. And what is hierarchical inheritance?
So in hierarchical inheritance, many classes inherit one class.
Okay. Many
Right.
classes inherit one class, or it is a combination of all types?
Sir, it can be said like it's a combination of all types. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's move to the next question. What are the different constructors available in Java?
So there are two constructors. One is the default constructor and one is the customized constructor. Custom constructor, sorry.
What is custom constructor?
So what constructor the user defines in the program, that is called a custom constructor. And
Okay. Have you used that before?
yes, sir.
Okay.
We are,
Are you aware about the parameterized constructor in Java?
yes, sir. I'm aware about parameterized constructors.
What is use of that?
So parameterized constructor is used to initialize the values. So of an object, to be more specific, like if we have an object and we have its four properties, like we have those four variables, so we can pass the values and that will be initialized in the constructor.
Okay. So are you aware
So how
about?
does a constructor? Sorry for
Yeah. Yeah. Please go on.
I just want to ask one question over here. So, what is the difference between a constructor and a destructor?
I'm not aware, sir, about the structures.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
Amol, you can continue.
yeah. So are you aware about memory allocation and memory deallocation?
No, sir, I'm not so sure about this.
Okay. Actually, constructor and destructor are related to memory allocation and deallocation. Okay. So tell me, do you know what is equals function in Java?
So please pardon, sir.
Equals function.
Equals function. Equals function or operator, sir. Yes.
Function, not operator.
No, sir, I'm not aware about this.
Okay. Actually, my next question was like, what is difference between equals and equal to operator? Okay.
Okay,
Let
sir,
it be.
that I know, sir. That I know, sir.
Means you
So like,
know difference between both.
yes, sir, I know the difference between both.
Yeah. Please
So,
go on.
so equal to operator is actually used for assigning a value, and double equal to is actually a logical operator. It is used to compare values.
No, no. Actually, my question was difference between equals function and equal to operator. Okay, let
Equals
it be.
function. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, sir.
So you are aware about exception handling, right? Why we use that?
Sir, exceptions are like some unwanted errors which actually get executed, which actually arise when the program is run. So that actually needs to be handled. So that is what is called exception handling.
Okay, and what are different blocks are available in exception handling?
So the try catch block, try catch and throw.
Try, catch, and throw. Throw is a
Yes.
block.
So throw is actually no, sir. It's not a block. It actually is a function which throws the values to the compilers.
Okay, and what are different exception handlings are available in Java?
So so input output exception handling, and the rest can be, sir. I'm not so much aware about it, sir.
Okay, so are you aware about finally block in exception handling?
Uh, so what? Yes, sir. Actually, finally block in exception handling is, sir. It actually forces the compiler to run that block, finally block.
Okay, so you mean it will whether it will execute, try, or catch? It always came in finally, right?
Yes, sir.
And then if it is always coming in finally, then what is use of that? We can put that code
Sorry.
in outside also, right?
Sir, it's actually like some necessary part which needs to be that needs to be executed without these exceptions. So we actually put this finally block, which makes it necessary for the that part of block to execute during the program.
Okay. Okay, let's move to SQL. I will ask few questions on SQL. Tell me what is the difference between unique key and primary key?
So primary key is actually the key which can be used to, which is actually a kind of, which is actually unique in feature, means it is unique for all the values, and that is different from, that is the only unique key in the whole data set. So data set needs to have one primary key, and the unique key is what we can use to link to tables. Like if we have a table and there are some values which are being repeated, and we can there is another table, we can use that value to access the other table.
Okay, and is there any difference with respect to null values between unique key and primary key?
Yes, sir. Primary key can never be null, and a unique key may be null.
Maybe null means can we write like can we insert multiple null record into any particular column?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can have multiple null values in that unique key column.
Okay, we can have multiple entries, right? Then why we called it as like unique key?
Yes.
If it's having
Sir, we call it unique because that is unique in property with respect to the table, which is actually the other data set. So we can use it to access the other table. So it's unique in that form.
okay, and how many primary key can we have for one table?
So we can have many primary keys, but one is necessary for to have in one data set.
And what about unique key? How many unique key can we have?
So it's not necessary to have unique key. We may and may not
Yeah,
have
but
unique.
maximum one, two.
We can have many unique keys, sir.
Okay, so one last question from my side. Now, what is foreign key in SQL?
So I think I have got confused with unique and foreign key.
Okay, so I will ask one counter question for this.
Yes, sir.
Uh, do you know inner join in SQL?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, please go on.
Sir, so inner join is actually used to link two tables. So in inner join, what happens that like one column, which is actually the kind of foreign key in our table, we use that to access the other table, link it to the other table.
Suppose let's say there is two tables, table 1 with name table 1 and table 2. What will be the syntax for inner join?
So the syntax will be select the column names from table 1, where the column 1 dot the table 1 dot the column name of this equals to the table 2 dot column name of that other table.
But in this
So we
SQL,
can actually
yeah, whatever you said that SQL, in that I can't find out any join keyword there. So it's not a join, right?
it's actually a join only because we are table. It's not necessary to use the join because in ANSI form we use the keyword join there, but in Oracle form we can use without using the join word we can form the joins. In like we use the table name and the column name to equate it to the other table name and column name. So it's a
Okay,
kind of join.
okay, great. So Deep, I am done from my side. Hand over to you.
Right. Final question that I would like to ask that what are the different types of indexes you have used in SQL?
So indexes. Uh,
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, I've not heard about indexes.
You have not used any indexes. Okay. Fine. So that was my final question. So with that, we have come to the end of today's interview session. Okay. So we'll come up with all the feedbacks as well very soon. And yes, stay safe. We'll connect once again. Okay. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.